Hi, and welcome to Today's Parent, where we connect you with experts and provide you with information to make your parenting journey a bit more easier. I'm your host, Christine Casina. On today's show, we'll be talking about matter speech, the one milestone that parents get so excited when their kids hit is when their kids start talking. But even before we get to that, we have parents whose children are struggling with matter speech and language, and in studio today, we have Lorna Mudhamia Ochido. She's a speech therapist, and she will take us through the milestone of speech and language. Lorna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I don't think I've ever heard my middle name said so well, like with a Meru accent.
Mudhamia.
You make me feel so embarrassed.
You
did better.
Welcome to the show. Thank
Asante.
you. Thank you. So define for me, speech, language, what's the difference?
Well, I guess the difference is subtle, but it's key. So speech is just how we pronounce sounds, how we pronounce words.
Mudhamia.
So that's, So if you could not, if say you are omitting a sound in my name, then you'd have a speech issue.
Right.
But if you have a child that is delayed in talking, then that is really a language issue.
Okay.
So and parents usually, use those terms interchangeably, but more so I hear parents talking about delayed speech. And so just so that I can connect with parents,
okay,
I usually as well say delayed speech.
Okay.
But really there's a technical, there's a distinction.
Difference between the two.
Yes.
So when it comes to the milestone of speech, it's supposed to happen I know all babies develop differently, but it's expected for speech to develop at what point?
So yes, all babies develop differently, but I know parents feel really, they get caught up on, should I compare, should I not compare my child? I'm like, we are moms, that's what we do. We compare our children. We compare the neighbors. I remember when my son was late in babbling. So babbling is when children combine consonants and the vowels together.
Okay.
So ba, 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 da, 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 da. And usually a child, it's actually a precursor to talking.
Right.
So if your child hasn't babbled by 9 months, we know for sure there's a problem. We just don't know what the problem could be. They could be like they're not hearing properly.
Okay.
Or, they're fluid in the ear. So if they're not hearing properly, it does not also mean that they're deaf. It just means that sometimes they might have fluctuating hearing loss,
right,
which doesn't provide an optimal environment for them to then acquire, like timely speech and language milestone.
Okay.
So, and I remember I would look at a friend of mine who had her baby almost the same time as me. I think it was February. I think you also had your baby in February, but we were not in each other's lives. And we'd go to parties and the little girl is babbling, and I would just be like, oh goodness. And really that is a feeling that parents feel when they are comparing, the neighbor's child, when their 2-year-old isn't talking, and a 2-year-old really is supposed to be already saying sentences, being able to retell a very simple story, doesn't necessarily, not all the words need to be very clear.
Yeah.
So 2-year-olds do have a speech issue, but it is developmentally appropriate. So 2 years, 200 to 300 words.
200 to 300 words. You read my mind because I have a 2.5-year-old like you, and we were at a family function. And when we went to this family function, the difference was so huge. Her boy was literally speaking full sentences. And I look at mine and I'm thinking, is it the environment where we are at? Is it too much screen time? Is it that we are not doing too many or enough of storybooks and things like that? So yeah, you're very right. We do compare. And it's, in your case, I guess it demonstrates the point even better, because usually if your sister's child was a girl, then you'd feel very justified that your son isn't saying as much. But they're both boys.
They're both boys, so you have no excuse. You have no rock to hide behind, because we love these rocks that we hide behind, because the doctor will say to you, oh, you don't need to worry, take them to school, or you have your family member saying, oh, don't worry, boys develop much later. And I say, that's not a proven fact. Like my son had over 1,000 words by the time he was 2 years.
Wow.
But that's because his mom is a speech
You saw my
therapist.
wow.
But he did start off very delayed at the beginning, which actually got me very concerned. But then we did we intensified the stimulation at home, the singing, the nursery rhymes, and you talked about the environment. Is it that our environment isn't conducive for our children to develop speech and language skills in a timely manner? And I would say, for a majority of homes, yes.
So let's go step by step. What causes speech delay?
Well, many things.
Okay.
So Sometimes it could be a congenital issue.
So
they're
could
born,
be something they're born with.
yes,
Right.
yes. So if they're born with any medically diagnosed condition like a syndrome, if you had prolonged labor, so that's another cause. So they might not have had any issue in utero, but because you had a prolonged labor, and perhaps they did not cry immediately they were born, so all of that can cause delayed speech and language.
So number one, congenital.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then prolonged labor or obstructed labor.
Right.
So so it could be birth trauma. So we could
birth trauma.
Yes.
Under birth trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if the environment. So the environment, I guess, is twofold. Yeah.
Let's expound on that.
So, I mean, we are all very busy. We have homes where both parents actually go to work, and our children are actually raised by house helps, and screens. So and TV.
A lot of screens.
Yes. I mean, I know parents who would rather buy their child a tablet so that they can, stop bothering them about wanting to use their phone all the time, because you also want to use your own phone. And there you have a child that becomes very still once you give them a phone or a tablet, or you turn on the TV for them. And so it becomes quite addictive, even I think for us parents. We're like, this is the only way I can get peace of mind. My house is so busy. I think when you called me last week, you said, are you? What did you say, Christine?
I was asking you, how many children are those?
So that's the effect of not having screen at your home. So those are just my children, and they are so noisy, and I'm always just getting a headache. But that is basically the effect of not having screens in your home. You have kids that are talking more, are fighting more, are negotiating more, are bothering you more, and in all those scenarios, you are actually impacting on their language skills, as opposed to that child that is
stuck on the screen.
Quite well behaved. We like to call them well behaved, isn't it? Because they sit there, they mind their own business
for hours sometimes.
Yes.
So what's the effect? I mean, from your expertise, I don't know if there's any correlation between how the brain works and how speech works and screen time. Is there a way they're affected? I don't know.
There's definitely numerous studies that have investigated the effect of screen time on brain development, and the results are there. Like, this is not something that we are only just starting to talk about. Scientists have talked about it for the last 10 years, but I didn't grow up with screen time 24/7. I didn't grow up with cartoons 24/7.
Yeah.
So even for the skeptics out there who are saying, oh, well, my child learns when they're watching a cartoon.
Do they?
Well, they do.
Can I tell you something? Like, my son, from YouTube, the ABC Kids Songs and Cocomelon, he could actually sing in Spanish, sing in Russian, and sing in English. So the confusion was enormous.
And they know their colors in Spanish, they know their numbers in Russian, and what good does that serve your child?
He's bilingual.
Multilingual now. But you see, I find that, and not really I find, it's really the studies as well that have shown the language that your child acquires by watching or regurgitated information that they're getting from a screen is not really used functionally. So they can rattle all the colors, even the obscure colors. They know their turquoise, they know their peach, they know their, all those colors, but they can't have a conversation. They can't respond to a simple question like, what is your name? Where is mommy? How old are you? But yet they can count up to 500. They can recite the alphabet forward and backwards.
Wow.
So, but is that a good skill if your child is not even...
Because it's not even helpful.
It's
not helpful.
Yeah. So yes, they do learn something, but they're not learning how language works. So what studies have shown is that the recommended time or a number of hours that your child should be exposed to screens, all of them combined, is not more than 60 minutes a day.
And 60 minutes per day.
That's 1 hour. That's like blink your eyes open and that's it. 60 minutes are gone. You've not even finished your nap or cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if your child is exposed to more than that, and that is for children that are now, they have some language. So if your child is below 2 years, the recommended amount of time they should watch the screens is 0. For a 6-month-old, for an 8-month-old, for a 9-month-old, for a 18-month-old, they should not be exposed to any screen time.
Is that so?
Yes.
This will be very hard for parents to hear because literally we are living on those Baby Shark channels.
I know.
Yeah.
And I worry because I feel like the future is for the few children who are not overexposed to screens, because these are the children who have expanded interests. Because if your child is overexposed to screens, they don't have many interests. The sun could be, shining outside. Children are making noise outside. They have no interest in being outside.
So Lorna, if I want to know that my child has speech and language delays, how can I tell? I know we've talked about at 9 months they need to be babbling, but beyond 9 months, how can you tell?
Say at 15 months, they should have
15 months.
At least, 3 to 10 words, so a minimum of 5 words at 15 months. So 15 months is what? 1 and 3 months.
Right.
Yeah, 1 year, 3 months. They should also have met their other motorical milestones. So like they should be walking. So the range, the average range for walking is 9 months, 9 to 14 months. So at that same time, they should also start to say their first words. So baba, mama, whatever it is that is mostly, said to them is what they will say. If the word that you say a lot is no, they'll say no.
A lot of no.
No.
I want to ask you a random question. How is it that babies say baba first before mama?
I think it just shows how how such good moms we are that we're always referring to baba. You're like, where's baba? Baba is coming. Oh, go to baba, and they're not doing such a good job themselves. It's the reason. Or do you think there's another reason?
I don't know. I mean, having carried somebody for 9 months and then you do the first 1 year, 2 years, it's so much work. And then the first word they say is baba.
They keep hearing baba more often.
Mine, I can take it personally.
So we need to tell dads to do a good job of saying,
mama,
amplifying our names to the babies. Yeah.
So the baby can pick that up.
Yes. So, and then at 18 months, they should have at least 25 words, so 25 to 50 words.
Okay.
And that is when they start to combine 2 words together as well. They might say, baba, fall down, or mama, lala.
Right.
So they start to combine 2 words. And then at 2 years, as I say, 200 to 300 words. And at 3 years, they should be saying 1,000 words. At 4 years, they should be saying at least 1,600 words. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lorna. And when we come back from the break, we'll build up on that point. What can parents do at home to enable their children to develop when it comes to matter speech and language, especially the environment that they're growing in? Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. On today's Parents, we are talking about matter speech delays, and when you need to worry as a parent and what to do. In studio, we have Lorna Mudhamia Ochido, one of the best speech therapists in the country. I'm proud to call you a friend, and the wonderful work that you're doing, just keep it up. I know the one thing that parents would want to know, and it's a question that has also come during the break from Mutua in Machakos. If my kid has speech delay issues, what do I do?
Well, many things. So we've talked about in the first part of the show to check on, some of the things that could be red flags for why they have the delayed speech or language. And so it's usually they still, even if it is congenital issues, then they would need to seek speech therapy services, but then you can check on the environment. So if they are watching more than 60 minutes of TV a day, and they haven't yet developed their language, then that is an area that needs to be looked into so that you reduce the amount of screen time. So
reduce the amount of screen time. Do you have kids watching as much as 3, 4, 5 hours of Cocomelon, ABC, Baby Shark, Fortnite? Yeah. Do you cut it from 2 hours? Do you break, just taking it away, of course, it could be a bit tricky. Yeah. Or do you just cut it out completely, immediately?
I know initially, when parents hear that this is a contributor to their child's delayed speech, I think there's initial panic that sets in, and they say, we are just taking it out cold turkey.
So most of the time cold turkey.
So they do that, but you can do that, but then I feel you need to set yourself up for success.
Right.
So if suddenly you went from having your TV on all the time to your TV now not on at all, and you probably don't have enough support, because the TV was a very good babysitter, right?
Right.
So if you've taken away the TV and the phone, and you still have the one help, and you have 3 children under the age of 7 in your home, and say it's a school holiday, what then happens? So what will happen, I can predict for you, is that your house help will probably pack up and go the following day. Like this, or maybe 1 week, like this work has become too much.
Yeah.
I finish cleaning the toilet, I go this way, there's water again, toilet paper has been,
Pandemonium in the house.
Because the TV is off. So I would say perhaps do it in a measured way.
Right.
Perhaps turn the TV off when it's not being watched. You know how, I don't know about your home, but this is a culture that we now need to move towards. Like not always having TV on.
And the whole day.
Yeah.
Starting with cartoons all the way to news and back to...
That way, because there's always something interesting coming. And even if you say, oh, we're waiting, and the kids also know what's coming, because these cartoons are very handy in telling you what's coming next.
Oh, you're coming up next.
Coming up. And even the
so you're
thing
glued there.
I say to my kids, how did you know it's coming up next? Like, what show? Then I'm like, even the ones that can't read, they already see the, Dora's coming up.
Marketers.
So turn it off, so set little, tell the kids, like, you're only watching this one, and make sure reinforce. There might be a bit of pushback initially, but I think with time, they then catch on.
Right.
And then you need to make sure that you have enough help. You need to have enough help.
What do you mean by enough help?
I don't know. Like, I feel like it took me a long time to accept that I need to have more than one help in my home.
Yep.
So, and a tired mom, a tired dad is definitely not taking advantage of all the teaching opportunities that exist throughout a day when you're with your child, because you're too tired. You're too tired. You have to go cut onions. You have to go and do what. You'll not be the one that is taking them outside to play. And then I see this happen all the time. I ask parents, so what? Let me just guess again. In your home, you have one help. You have the 3 kids. 2 of them are probably need their language stimulated.
Right.
And then you work Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday. You work. Your husband does the same, maybe Monday to Saturday. And then guess what happens on Sundays? The help goes on off.
Yes.
So you're left alone.
Yes.
You're tired as anything. If anything, you get to the house at 6 or at 7, and the kids are released to you. Aren't they released to you?
Yeah.
You're thinking, I'm so tired.
And then
I've not even caught a break. You will not be able to, engage that child. Yeah. So I say to parents, when you're interviewing, like I learned this the hard way, because my son, in a space of like 2 months, became almost mute when he had started to babble. So at 4 months, he's babbling. 2 months, we had under stimulation that was, I think, quite significant.
Right.
And not even every day. I think it was 3 days of the week, because that was the days I used to take my nannies with me to work. And my child went mute for another 5 months.
Wow.
For another 4 months. And, then I think a month on, we noticed and we started to really engage this child. I said, no. I am not saving this money only for me to go and spend it, at a speech therapist clinic or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got another help that just was, like that was the work, just be with the baby, sing to the baby. So you need to be empowered as a parent.
So those are the examples that you can give when it comes to how you can engage and, just stimulate the child.
Yeah.
So sing to them.
Yes. So when they're on their high chair, don't give them a phone, sing nursery rhymes, read a book, read the same book. Let it be a new routine for this child. As I'm being fed, somebody is singing to me or reading to me.
That's a good one.
Yes, so that is one thing that you can do. Obviously, I said you need to then reorient your house help to her new responsibilities. Yes. So if they are used to getting all their chores done during the day because the child is very engaged, now you can maybe have them wake up a bit earlier and finish all the ironing or finish all the cooking or whatever, so that during the day they have space.
Yeah.
If you have more than 2 children that are in sort of that delicate, formative stage, then get another help.
Get another help.
And if you have already a help that comes and does the cleaning, perhaps then, I don't know, make sure, if you have a child that is under the age of 5, you need to have help that are actually talkative. And then as parents, we need to empower ourselves.
Right.
You have to know, so that when you're told a myth that definitely does not hold water, you at least can call it out as a myth. Like when I hear parents say to me all the time, we were told, we were advised to take our kids to school. There's the one for school, so they take them to school, they'll talk, or the myth about boys are a bit delayed than girls.
Is it true?
Well, I don't know, maybe they'll be a bit quicker with their motorical skills, but it does not mean they cannot be quick with their language development as well.
Okay.
Yeah? So there's I don't know, the fact that you can't be well rested as a mom, you know, like you can be well rested. That puts you in a much better position to do more with your child.
That is true.
You know, I
That's
have mothers who have decided because their child was delayed in talking, they've sent away their house help, so they're the only ones at home.
Stimulating the child.
And they're not. They're tired.
They must be very tired.
Very tired. So when you're supposed to be in the bath and helping your child, be like, oh, show me your nose and show me your tummy. You're not doing any of that.
I need to get dinner started.
I need to go and do something in the kitchen. So I think that is something that I would say to parents. You need to be well rested. There's no shame in that.
Okay.
I have many helps. And it works for us because at the minute the TV is off, you need to have many, many ideas that you can now help, you know, engage your child in. If you take your child to school early, chances are if they are not very interactive, they will just be left in a corner because the school environment, the class environment, one teacher, 10 kids, cannot handle too many crying children.
Give that personalized attention.
No. And if you do feel like you want to take your child to school, make sure you have that very explicit conversation with the school that, you know, the reason why I'm bringing my child to school is so that this can happen.
Yeah.
And then you can also bring your child for a speech and language therapy evaluation. So check and see, again, it's better for you to come and I say, oh, everything's all fine, everything's going well, I give you some pointers, than to wait until now you are really, really worried because your child is 5 and not talking.
Right.
Because at that point, remember the brain?
Yes.
It starts to slow down.
From 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about speech therapy. How does it work?
So it's very fun. So you bring in your child, we have an initial consult, and I chat to you about what is happening, what's called case history taken, and then I am able to tell, based on what I observe and what you tell me, what your child's strengths are and what your child's weaknesses are. Then we work on the weaknesses. So if your child has autism, for example, it's not a life sentence. At least not if your child is young enough, it's not a life sentence. This child will end up talking. This child, we foresee, if they have early intervention, will have a pretty ordinary life. You know, maybe extraordinary as well. But leaving it much later is what really is, it's negatively impacts on the child.
You know, you've touched on something when it comes to topics like autism, ADHD, and the correlation to speech. I don't know, at your place, is it possible if I have an autistic child, even before coming to your center, how can I know my child is autistic?
There are many pointers. So I have a YouTube channel and a website that is a resource to parents, and it's the reason why I created it. So I would suggest as well, I mean, you can do a lot of reading, but if you just want information that's been sifted and easy to digest, then I suggest that our parents visit our website, which is Speech Therapy Totos, TOTOS.
Speech Therapy
Totos.com.
So Lorna, as we wind up, when it comes to, if I want to help my child develop their language, what are the pointers you can share with me as a parent?
So it depends on which stage of development they're at. So if they are not engaging, so you need to do a lot of activities that will get your child to engage. So if your child just likes the one toy, and maybe if maybe it's a car and they're just looking at it, teach your child to play appropriately with that toy. So if they're just lining the toys, or if they're just holding them, you know, teach them to engage, teach them to allow you into their game. So you can work on what's referred to as pre-verbal skills.
Pre-verbal skills.
Yes. So pre-verbal skills are the skills that a child must acquire before they start to talk. And I have a course for parents. I have an online course for parents that can elaborate and give them the step-to-step, step by step on what they can start to do at home with a little 1 minute, 2 minutes that they have.
Yeah.
Like if you live in an apartment or flat and you're going up steps, you can go up with your little child, 7-month-old could be, even if it's a 2-year-old that's not talking. So those are some things that you can do, and they are contained in the course. And again, if people go to my website, there's a sample of that course that they can get for free that gives them many more tips like those that they can implement at home very quickly.
So the one thing you said that parents need to do is we need to empower ourselves as moms and dads to then get this information and see how we can help our kids.
Yes.
And then the other one that you emphasized on was the environment at home. Less screen time, For sure.
More help for mommy and dad.
More help. And there's no shame in asking for more help. And that is something that moms and dads need to, you know, just appreciate.
Especially moms.
Especially moms, because we are the hardest on ourselves, because, you know, just asking for help. You want to be super mom, super woman, and do it all.
Yeah.
Get all the help that you can need.
And then what will you do with that award? Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I think every mom just deserves it.
Yeah. And
every mom deserves it.
I say to parents, getting the right house help is half the work done. So if you want your child to get their speech going and their language going, get a house help that is chatty, that is talkative, that is child-friendly. And you know these. You know them, because if your child is in the kitchen with them, you can hear the interaction.
Engaging.
Yeah.
They're engaging.
Yeah. So I say to parents, just because they make very nice chapati or you've had them for many years, that is not a precursor.
Especially depending with the age of the child.
Yes.
Depending with the age of the child. Lorna, thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm sure the moms, the dads will learn a lot from the pointers you have shared. Speech is one, like we said at the beginning, speech is one of the milestones that parents are so keen on. And all the help they can get is important that we get it to them. Thank you for coming through today.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you for watching today's show. On today's Parent Today, we were talking about matters, language, and speech, and how to help your child to develop when it comes to matters, speech, and language. We had in studio Lorna Mudhama Ochido, who then shared tips that you can try at home and help your child. If you want more resources, you can go to her website, www.speechtherapytotals.com. I have been your host, Christine Kasina, and we are here in studio at Little Cribs, the home of exciting, durable, and fun kids furniture. If you're looking for parenting resources, you can always go to our website, www.supermamas.co.ke. See you next time.